Okay. Ready? And voice is quiet. Okay. So, a long time ago, in rural southern China, which means in the countryside of China, there lived a mother and her two young daughters. Xing was the eldest daughter, and Li Huo was the youngest. Xing and Li Huo and their mother raised silkworms and sold their silk at the local market. So silkworms, these types of worms actually create. Excuse me. Who's the teacher who was talking? I appreciate you know that, but remember, we don't blurt out. Come on in and quickly put your papers in your mailboxes and then come sit down. So, silkworms produce silk thread that can be used to make cloth for dresses and clothing. One sunny fall morning, the girls' mother set off to the local market to sell the silk thread that they had spun. However, on this particular occasion, she had decided to leave some silk thread behind so that she could make 2 new silk dresses for her daughters. Before the girls' mother left, she gave them strict or serious instructions to stay inside the house. So what did the mother say?
Stay inside the house.
Stay inside the house. Do not go outside, the mother said to the girls. I've heard rumors that Hugo Po has come down into the foothills. She is a tiger that disguises herself as an old woman and tries to trick people. Please latch or lock the door as soon as I leave. So, her mother's instruction was to latch the door and stay in the house. We will not go outside, promised Xing. I will lock the door and we will spend our time cleaning the house. We will be right here waiting for you, said Li Huo. And so the mother kissed her daughters and disappeared into the early morning mist that was rising up from the warm earth. Immediately, the 2 girls set to work. They scrubbed the floor and dusted all the nooks and crannies of their small farmhouse. It was almost midday by the time they were finished. The sun was shining brightly and the birds were chirping loudly when the girls heard a knock on the door.
No, don't open it.
Do not answer the door, said Xing. Right? Xing? Yeah. Xing to her younger sister. I will find out who it is. Xing stood in front of the door and locked the door and said, Who is there? Hello, my dear, said a voice that sounded as ancient as the hills. So what does it kind of sound like? It sounds like what kind of lady? Old lady. So when it says ancient, ancient's another word for old. So if it sounds like an old voice, it sounds like an older voice. Hello, my dear. I have been walking for many miles. I wonder, could you spare a cup of water? Xing was perplexed. What is perplexed? Show me. Confused. Xing was perplexed. She knew she should not open the door, but somehow she felt that this old woman, for this old woman it appeared to be, was in need of help. So, we know what the mother's instructions were, right? They were to lock the door and stay inside. So, what do you think Xing will do? Raise your hand. What do you think Xing will do? Sophia. You think she'll give her water? If you think the same thing, show me this. If you don't, I'll ask 1 other or 2 other people. Nash, what do you think?
She still won't trust her.
Okay, so you think she won't open the door. Okay, so we have 2 things we have.
She could just go to a haunted room.
So far we think that she'll open the door and give her water, and we think that she won't trust her and she'll keep the door closed. Okay. 1 more guess, and then we're gonna read. Cora. Okay, you think she'll let her in? Okay.
Her in.
I cannot open the door, explained Xing, but I can pass a cup of water through the open window. Thank you, my dear, replied the somewhat croaky voice. You are very kind. Then Oshing, keep looking at the pronunciation. Oshing filled a cup of water from the bucket that contained drinking water from their well. Here you are, she said as she passed a cup of water through the open window. The old woman now stood before the window. She took the cup in her old wrinkly hand and drank from it. When she was done, she handed the cup back to Oshing.
Bye, Carly.
See you back in your class.
Carly, you left your...
I don't suppose you have. Oh, thank you, said Oshing. Sorry. How sweet your water well is, said the old woman. Thank you, said Oshing. As she spoke, the Oshing looked more closely at the old woman. Just like her hands, her face was old and wrinkly. However, the woman had the most peculiar golden amber eyes that Oshing had ever seen. You see her eyes?
Yeah, I can't.
Wait, she's the bad.
That's a prediction. Keep it
Get
in your
away
head.
from the tiger.
Okay, keep it in your head.
Yeah, she's tiger.
I don't suppose you have a little rice to spare, said the old woman. As it happened, Li Huo had just cooked rice for lunch. Yes, we have some rice we can give you, said Li Huo, as she eagerly placed them in the small porcelain bowl. Then she rushed to the window and handed the old woman the bowl and some chopsticks. The old woman looked at Li Huo and licked her lips. Why, thank you, my dear, said the old woman, as all in the while staring intently at Li Huo. I don't suppose you would let me sit for a minute or two while I eat this delicious rice, asked the old woman. Of course you can, exclaimed Li Huo. And before Oshing could stop her, Li Huo ran to the door, unlocked it, and opened it. In the blink of an eye, the old woman was in the house and sitting at the kitchen table. It was as if she appeared by magic. Oshing began to feel alarmed. Why might Oshing feel alarmed or worried? Why would she feel alarmed or worried? Grace?
Maybe because her mother said, don't open the door in a really firm voice.
Yeah, because did they follow the mother's directions?
No.
No. What else might she be? I'm going to take one other person. So they didn't follow the mother's directions. And what else, Evelyn? Okay, so why else would they be alarmed? Who was out
I know.
in the town?
Wait,
Mason?
I still have it.
We'll start.
It's because she's right next to that, and he's afraid he'll be eaten.
So what is it that disguises itself as an old lady?
The tiger.
The tiger. So they said the tiger was in town, and it often disguises, we learned about disguises itself as an old lady. Who's in their house now?
We know.
An old lady. Do we know for a fact that that is the tiger? No, so let's find out. So, are you here all alone? Asked the old woman. Yes, replied Li Huo. Our mother has gone to sell silk thread our silkworms produce. She told us to stay inside for safety, and that is what we have done, continued Li Huo proudly. I see, replied the old woman. You are very wise girls. There are all kinds of dangers in the outside world. Excuse me. It's very rude to talk while I'm reading. Hands down. Well, as soon as you finish your rice, interrupted Oshing, I am sure you will want to be on your way. I'm almost finished, replied the old woman, who, despite her words of praise, did not seem to like eating rice. There are only 2 more things that I need. Oh, what are they? Said Li Huo. Oshing guessed the answer just as the cunning or sly woman uttered the words. So, Oshing guessed the answer. Do you know what she wants? The two things that she wants?
No.
You want good hand raising. Dylan, what do you think?
No, please.
Do you think she wants the kids? I see a lot of this. Anyone else think anything different? I'm gonna call one more. He says that she thinks she wants the kids. Cora,
Kids.
you think something different? So you think she wants more water? Okay, let's see. So Ocean guessed the answer just as a cunning or sly woman. So remember, cunning means trickster. Like a trickster. Cunning or sly woman uttered the words, "Two young girls!" exclaimed the old woman. Once again, as if by magic, the old woman's movements were quick and sudden. She produced a sack, and before Ocean could stop her, she snatched Li Hyo and placed her inside it. So, was Dylan's prediction right?
Yes.
Yes. I know a lot of other people do that too. Okay, so let's pause for a second.
Right.
Oh.
She said two, not one.
Well, we haven't gotten that far yet. Pause for a sec. So, what characters have we met so far? Raise your hands. Kinsley,
Tiger, the tiger.
the old lady, yeah. Sophia,
The girl.
the girls. Who remembers their names? Caitlin, Lee Hill, and Mason,
We met my mother.
the mother. And what's the other girl's name? Evelyn? Ocean. So we have the mother, the old lady, and the two girls, Lee Hill and Ocean. Did we meet anyone else? I don't think so. Okay. Who knocks on the door? Who knocks on the door? Lily?
I was gonna ask if I can finish my
This is not the time for that. That's an unfinished work.
Lily.
Go ahead there. No. But that's not something we need to interrupt our story to ask. Lily. Who knocks on the door? Grace?
Your mother.
The mother knocks on the door? So she locks the door. Who knocks on it? The woman, the old woman. Good. What did the old woman do to Lee Hyo? What did she do, Hadley?
She took her.
She took her. She put her in the bag. Good. So, you are older, announced the old woman. This way. Yes. You're older, announced the old woman, and probably not very tasty. I'm not sure that I want the trouble of carrying you to the mountains. As the old woman was speaking, Ocean reached for some of the spun silk thread that her mother left behind. It had been spun and wound around a small branch of a mulberry bush. Ocean secretly placed it inside the pocket of her dress. Ocean had also decided that she would not let the old woman leave without her. Why might Ocean have reached for the silk thread? Why do you think she took the thread? Caitlin.
To help her sister and make a plan.
Okay, so probably she has a plan, so maybe to help the sister. Thank you, Sophia, for showing me this. That means that she thought the same thing. I see Dylan's doing that too. Good. So probably because she has a plan to help her sister. Let's read on, okay? I know everyone has their own predictions. I know everyone has their own predictions, but we're gonna keep reading. I want to be with my sister, replied Ocean. Very well, said the old woman. Into the sack you go. And in an instant, Ocean found herself stuffed inside the sack beside her sister. It was clear to Ocean that the old woman had remarkable strength, and she carried them with relative ease. So, can old women usually lift two girls in a sack over their backs?
No.
Not usually. So,
It's a tiger.
after a while, the old woman stopped to place the sack containing the two girls on the ground. Moments later, the sisters could hear someone or something noisily drinking water. As this was happening, O'Shane whispered to her sister to be quiet. Then she used the mulberry branch that held the silk thread to poke a hole in the sack. What she saw scared her half to death. Instead of an old woman, there was a tiger sitting on the edge of the large, glistening lake. The old woman was really Hugo Pooh. So, incredibly, instead of continuing onward, the tiger lay down in the afternoon sunshine and went to sleep. While the tiger slept, O'Shane slowly pulled out the hole in the sack until it was wide enough for her to crawl through. She motioned to her sister to quietly follow her. The girls crept forward toward the sleeping tiger. O'Shane reached for the silk thread inside her pocket. Then, using the thread, the girls tied together the tiger's front and back legs. Just as they were finished, the tiger woke up and roared loudly. The tiger tried to free himself, but the yards of silk thread that had been wound around his legs held it fast. The girls ran like the wind back to their small farmhouse in the foothills. They hurried into their house and slammed the door and locked it. When their mother finally returned home, she hugged their daughters tightly. "We told you that we would be here waiting for you," said O'Shane and Leho together. What lesson might the girls have learned on this adventure? Nash.
Maybe one should never listen to their mom and never let anybody in if she says
Never listen
Good,
to the
so-
mom.
I think I know what he meant. He thinks that there's probably two lessons to this. One, listen to your mom. And two, never let a stranger inside your house.
And 3,
So-
use silk string to grow their legs.
Hey, so I made a connection of a text-to-text connection, which means I related another story to another. In what other story did we hear of
This was a great story.
that a character tied together another character's another thing's legs?
I finished one, Mom.
Ooh, I see a couple that are really good at remembering. Okay. Grace.
All stories are not.
All stories are Nazis. Mason, why don't you follow that up? What did he do? What did Anansi do in that story?
He tied his wife had it long on the branch, but he gave the chef and he tied his around it.
So I can't wait to. So he tied the snake to the branch, right?
Yeah, that's a lot of work.
So I made this is what we call a text-to-text connection. Everybody say text-to-text. When we can relate one story to another, it's called a text-to-text, which is what we're doing a lot of in this. But that's a whole other story we read a while ago. So good remembering, you two. Give yourself a pat on the back. Okay, let's keep going with our questions.
Hey, I remember that, and I was gonna say that.
No.